Well, last week, Barie put me on the hot seat with politics, so today I get to put her on the hot seat when it comes to motherhood and work. And so we hope that you'll join us for this conversation. Well, hey, welcome back to the Ferguson home. We're so glad that you're with us. This is part 2 of our hot seat conversation. Barie asked me on last week's video about politics, and today I get to put her on the hot seat and ask her about the intricate balance between being a mom and working. And we know there are so many women out there that are watching this video who struggle with that. And so let's tell a little bit of our story and kind of your journey, and then I'll let you speak into it. We graduated from Baylor, sick and bears, and with an engineering degree and an accounting degree. And I went into full-time ministry as a youth pastor, really using that engineering degree. And Barie went to work full-time as an accountant for an accounting firm right when we were out of college and first married. And so as that was happening, you were making quite a bit more money than I was as a lowly youth pastor. And then we got pregnant. We had our first child, and you decided that you were going to come home and stop working and be full-time as a stay-at-home mom. And so I wanted to ask you about that, first of all. Like, talk about that decision. How did you make that decision that was the right step and what you needed to do?
Yeah, I can't remember like way back then everything that was going on through my mind, and it's wild because I grew up in a single parent home for most of my years where my mom had to work. There was no choice, and so I don't know, but we were both convicted and convinced that that was best for our family. And so even when I got pregnant before Cade was born, I had already quit and transitioned to being at home, and I think part of that conviction was that we really believed it a high and holy calling to be a mom, and that to shepherd our kids was going to take time and sacrifice and investment, and that I didn't know that as a new mom how to do both well. Like I was working a lot of hours at the accounting firm, and so I think we just knew there's no way that I can really pour into and invest as a mom into the life of this child like I felt called to do and have this job. And so even though the money was great and we had extra income to do things, at the end of the day when we weighed those, what was more important? Our value was we would rather be poor and have that time to really invest in our kids. So,
Is there a key scripture or verse that's kind of shaped the way you think about that conversation or thinking about the role of being a mom?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the whole count, I don't know if there's a specific one. The one that came to mind though is Proverbs 14:1. Every wise woman builds her house, but a foolish one tears it down with her own hands. And I think about that often, that I want to be a builder in our home. Like I really want to invest and make it a life-giving home and full of beauty and peace and joy, and invest in our kids and invest in our marriage. And it's really easy though to go the opposite way and to tear it down. And so there's so many other things. Like, was having the extra money great? Yeah, you know. So there's so many other things that could sway that decision, where I would end up tearing down our house, you know? And so I think probably that one, like really wrestling through that in each season of our life as a family, with each change of how do I in this season be a builder of my home and not tearing it down.
So we had our first, you were staying at home full time, which having watched you work, full-time in the accounting world and watching you work full-time at home, I would say you've worked harder at home than you did in the accounting firm, and that was a lot of hours. But
well, and the thing too is that when you're doing that, just recognizing that at home there is no bonus. There's no promotion for, hey, great job today. You changed all those diapers really well, so we're promoting you. There's no, you really don't even get to check off a to-do list, because you check off one thing and then the next day it's back on your list. And so there's just not a lot of, your little kids or babies are not saying, good job, mom, you rocked me well, or, so yeah. So that the life of a mom at home is hard.
challenging.
It's challenging.
Really challenging, yeah. So you made that decision. We made that decision together for you to come home, and really now that baby is driving. So he's 16 years old.
Baby, yeah.
And we've got all these other kids, and so I think we've shared on videos before. We've got 6 children. Now our baby, our youngest of the 6, is in pre-K. His last year pre-K, starts kindergarten this fall, and is going to 5-day-a-week pre-K at our church, at the preschool there. And so this is now kind of a new season, because for all of those 16 years, you're full-time stay-at-home mom. Different seasons of homeschooling and doing different responsibilities and roles with the kids, at the schools, in the community, all kind of things you've been involved in as a volunteer in ministry. I mean, just super busy. But in this last 6 months now, you've gone back into the workforce with the job, part-time at our church as our director of marriage ministries. And so talk a little bit about just that decision of going back to work with all of these kids, and just the tensions you feel in being now a working mom.
Yeah, so it just seemed, I go back again to the verse about building, a wise woman builds her home. And in this season, it just seemed to work out to where now all of our kids, our preschooler was able to get into a preschool at our church 5 days a week. So then all 6 of our kids would be at a school during the day. And I was going to be able to work at a job that I had been volunteering at. So though it just seemed like the Lord was kind of putting the pieces together for us to make that work. And so, yeah, we made the decision. And also, just to be honest, even before this job came open, we were already kind of looking into me stepping back in part-time to do accounting work or something, because we're in a new phase of our family. So the best way to build my home and to help support our family was to bring in a little extra income, and because now we have one teenage driver. We have another one that's going to start driving this year, and then all of their just cost of raising kids. And so I knew that was going to be helpful for our family. So it just seemed right to go back in it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I answered your question.
No, that's good. Let me press into that a little bit more.
Okay.
For those who are watching, just some of the insecurities that maybe you have felt. I mean, I know you have talked to a lot of other moms who are staying at home full time, and some of the insecurities they feel, and some moms who are working and the insecurities they feel. So speak into that just a little bit, because that's a world that I don't fully understand, but you can kind of speak into moms that are watching that are in either world.
Yeah, there's a saying about, though, for a woman, our extra rib bone or something is the guilt bone. And I feel like that is true, that we are always, no matter where we're at, if we look around and look at what others around us are doing, we can feel guilty that we're not doing enough in whatever the areas that we're not performing well. And so I think across the board, that's hard. And I have definitely felt it. In fact, in the car yesterday, I was actually asking 2 of our older kids, hey, how do y'all think I'm doing now that I've been working for a little while? Am I letting you down? Am I missing important stuff? And they were really sweet about it. But it's a constant question that I have of balancing that, because, I do want to say at the end of the day, I'm going to choose motherhood. Because the investment, when we prayed for those kids and then God blessed us with those kids, that's a stewardship. And it's not, they can't just raise themselves, and I think about how I like to grow a plant, or I wish it would work this way. I love plants. I think they're beautiful. I just got a nice, beautiful one for my flower pot for my front porch. Here's the deal. I really wish I could just water it once a week and be good to go, that I could just go dump some water. And I try that for years. I'm still trying that, because that would be the easiest way to have a plant. But I know that's not true. And I know for all you gardeners out there, that there's a very specific way that I should learn, and I will one day, but that it takes a lot of knowledge and investment and tender care to make that plant thrive and grow. And I think we need to recognize that as moms, that it matters, the investment we're making in our kids. We're not going to see, we might be building the root system for a very long time, and you might not see a lot of the growth for a while, but you're making a difference. And so I, at my core, believe that and know that it does take time, that it's not like a once a week I can go spend time with my kid and they're going to be great. You know, like it's from the time they wake up until the time they go to bed, we're having constant conversations and constantly training and constantly teaching, and that it just takes time. So I think you were talking about the tension. Yes, it is. I think you just have to prayerfully take it, you know, day by day. But at the end of the day, I would just challenge all moms out there that if it comes down to the tension's too high and causing too much stress, I'm going to choose the motherhood part.
Yeah, and I want to speak to the dads out there, if you'll permit me just one statement to say, don't be a husband who's putting all this pressure on your wife to work outside the home if she feels called, and you agree together that she should be investing that time, especially in those early years of parenting, full time at home. You know, you just don't be a husband who's kind of prodding to go back to work and bring in extra income and all of that, versus saying, hey, let's cut our expenses as a family to make this possible, because it is such an important investment whenever your kids are young.
Yeah, and that's been a tension for us, if we're being honest, because you know, we didn't have that income for 16 years. And then, you know, recently, now that I started working, we do have that income coming in. But this has been the challenge, is we don't want to up our standard of living to where we have to have that. And so, but that's really, it's so easy, because we all see things we want, and it's so easy to want to up our standard. And to constantly, it is a daily fight to choose contentment and not, okay, well, we have this money, let's use it. Because then when the conversation comes up and you're like, I really feel called to home, well, then you're kind of stuck. If you've, all your expenses out, you know, are a lot larger than what your spouse brings in, you're going to feel stuck, like I have to keep working. And so you don't want to find yourself in that spot. But I also want to say there are some times where, because of your family circumstances and your budget, that you are a budget conscious person and your family is living on budget, but yet what you've been called, what your husband's been called to do, or just where you live, it makes it a necessity, or medical needs for your kids. Like there are really strong reasons to support that sometimes that the wife does need to go back to work and does need to earn for the family. And that is, you're building your home in that way. But I just want to challenge, I think the tension is that there's a difference there between I have to, and I really just want to live a standard of life a little bit higher than what we're living. And husband, I don't think you're bringing in enough, or, you know, the husband saying, I want more, you need to work, whatever. I'm just saying the have to, want to. It's a heart issue that you and your spouse, like, you really need to come together and pray about, because it's a big impact on your family.
Well, and that's my next question for you, is speaking to new moms. If you can remember back to that season of working and then having a child and coming home and all of that, and us discussing that and praying through that and making that decision. Talk to the new moms out there that are watching this who are wrestling with that decision. Maybe they've had a baby and they've had some time off, they've had some maternity leave, and now they're thinking about, well, now I've got to go back or put my baby into daycare, and they're wrestling with that right now. Like, how should they process that? How should they talk to their husband about that? How should they and their husband pray through that decision?
That's why we're having this conversation, because I think there's many moms out there who are really not settled ever, because they don't feel like they can give all at work and all at home. And you know, it's a tension that you do need to have that conversation. And I would say, as a new mom, first, don't make the decision when you're low on sleep, which is a lot. So kind of talk about that before you maybe have the baby. But be honest with the desires of your heart, and then press in. I just want to say, it's a high, I said it at the beginning, it's a high and holy calling to be a mom. And I think working is great too, but I think what our culture would say is more towards the work is great. And that's where you get your identity. And what I want to counter, which is funny because I'm working, but I want to counter that and just say that moms, it is so hard to choose to stay at home. Sometimes we feel like we're not built for it. There were many days that I was calling Keith crying, like, I do not have what it takes to do this. But who I am today, my character was formed in those quiet moments of being in a nursery, tears running down my face because I was exhausted, changing diapers. Also the moments where I was just sitting on the floor playing with my kids with joy. All of those moments of the daily mundane task in your home as a new mom that you feel just wiped out and weary and think you're not doing good at anything. I just want to encourage you that you're doing a really amazing work. And so I'm gonna get emotional because I think moms just need to hear that sometimes, that what you're doing has so much value, and you're raising world changers. And you pray that over your kids, that you're raising kids who will change this world for good. And they need you. They need you to invest in them and to love them and to hug them. And you just have to figure out, can I do that and work? And we just need to be eyes wide open. We can't do both super well. There's no balance. You're not going to ever figure it out. But I would say always, as you're evaluating, make sure that your mother game, that's your focus, even when it is hard. And there are many seasons when it's hard,
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing all that. And we just want to say to all of you moms out there, we love you. We're behind you. We're praying for you. And hope that Barie has spoken some things into your heart today that have encouraged you. And thanks for sharing. Anything you want to say?
Yeah, I just want to say to working moms too, I've enjoyed now in this season of being a working mom, of being able, my kids, they see me thriving and doing something that I love. And so that's really a good thing. And especially now that our kids are a little bit older and can really witness that, I can tell they're proud of me, and that means a lot to me. We have good conversations about, the work-life balance. And so I'm teaching them.
And they're taking up more responsibility and doing chores and doing things at the house to help because you're working.
That's been great, to see them jump in. And you're right, own more stuff so that because if was freed up all the time, there was a lot of stuff I was doing that I didn't, it was really kind of coddling them almost. And so I just want to tell you, working moms too, take heart. Your kids are watching you, and you're getting to invest in them by your example as you are, working. So I hope that working or stay-at-home mom, just press into the Lord. And my last deal is just, again, choose the motherhood option when you have to.
Well, I just honor you and thank you for the sacrifices that you've made and investment you've made in our kids. So it's bearing a lot of fruit in their lives. So love you. Thank you.
I was just having a conversation with Brinley around the dinner table, and I was laughing because I say at it, both at the same time, hey, there is nothing greater than if God calls you to be a stay-at-home mom. But then in the next sentence, I also say, but you'd make a great president of the United States. I want her to just be open-handed with where God calls her, and to know that both are so valuable to the kingdom of God when we are really seeking His will and walking with Him. So that's it. I'm really done.
That's good.